There it is, 2000. A milestone moment for a Pittsburgh icon.
Malkin dusts it off, right in front. Another chance, backhand score! It's Brian Rust with the goal. Rarefied air to Hall of Fame career, 1,200 points for Evgeny Malkin.
2nd and 9. Pickett lines up a deep ball. Separation. Touchdown. George Pickens.
Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio, right here in the Municipal Building at 5100 West Library Avenue. Police station right next door, library and all that's right here. We've been doing this it's actually our 14th calendar year, but really our 13th year officially to me. But we're honored to do it. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 21, only in Bethel Park. That 7's been ingrained with me for over 11 years. And thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, City of Pittsburgh, and the greater Pittsburgh area. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching us on Facebook Live. Here, I'll shout out to a few people. Johnny Mariano's here and hope you can hear us. Teresa Mariano's watching. Michael Mariano. Johnny and Michael, hope you get better with COVID soon. Sorry you got sick. Prayers. Aaron Carl's watching. Johnny Mariano, miss you guys. We miss you. Hope you feel better. Jim J's watching. We got sound now. Hope you can hear us. Michael Mariano, miss you all. Wish I could be there. You weren't supposed to be here anyhow. You were going to your school tonight. That's what you told me last week. All right. Kathy Duncan's watching. Diane Mariano Rohde's watching. Yeah, you got your son in the control room. He's doing it. You got your husband here, Ragin' Rohde. Chip Hayner, sound is on. Thanks. Pete Kasich from Munhall. Pete, where were you at Bill Boyce's party? Where was Smokin' Jim? Where was Dan Bogan? How did you guys miss it? We had a great time talking about you guys.
I forgot.
And I bet Bill Boyce that you wouldn't show. I almost want a free dinner. But the homemade cake was great. And one of my favorite things is pineapple upside down cake.
Wow.
The one lady, Stephanie, made it. Delicious. I had a piece of both, Smokin' Jim.
Wow.
And you know I try to eat healthy and brag about it. Not yesterday. No way. Or not on Sunday. Johnny said he doesn't have COVID. All right, Marco said you and Michael had COVID. I'm glad to hear it. Prayers are taken back. You just need prayers and stuff for being home and ignoring us then. Thanks for watching. All right, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Ragin' Rohde, you want to come out, or are you ready or not?
I was going to wait till that.
No, go ahead, sneak around. We sneak around there. All right, we got help coming on the way. We got Smokin' Jim Frazier here. And then we got Ragin' Rohde, otherwise known as Michael, coming in. All right, we're going to go to our promos in 10 seconds right now. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org. Zhang Taekwondo just opened a new location in the South Hills, along with its location in Wexford and its inclusion in the curriculum of Provident Charter School in Troy Hill. Zhang uses Taekwondo to teach its students confidence and self-discipline through physical fitness. Zhang is offering a 4-week special. You get a uniform and lessons for $30. If you mention the Talking Machine, Smokin' Jim, or VIP Nick, they'll give you a further discount. For more information, go to zhangtkd.com or call 724-934-9264. Hey, Pete Kasich, all your excuses were talked about at the party. You were all right with it. Nobody was upset at you. But Smokin' Jim Frazier, Mario, and Dan Bogan had no excuse. I had a little bet with Bill Boyce that he wasn't going to make it in, Smokin' Jim. I won another bet betting against my best friend. Peggy Rohde's watching us. We know who she is with, she'll be telling us about her husband coming in and watching in Rochester. Bud Watkins is watching. Ralph Williams is watching.
That's my man.
Valerie Veltry's watching. Thank you for watching. All right, we start our first segment. Everybody's here. What's on your mind, Smoking Jim Frazier?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at
you
you.
got this seat.
I never sat in this seat before. I gotta watch for flying pens.
Yes, I got to.
It's an OSHA thing, right?
Yeah, it is. I dealt with OSHA over the years. Don't bring that history up.
Aren't we glad that Cam Sutton is no longer with the Steelers? How in the world is Cam Sutton wearing number 1 on his jersey?
He's
The
making-
most targeted guy
He's
out
making
there.
something you don't. Money.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
But Al Levine, the talking machine, I know this is something you agree with me. You know I believe in curses.
Well, guess
Yeah,
what?
I'm
I
really
don't
talking
believe.
machine.
Disclaimer before he starts. He had the curse of Art Rooney because they didn't win for the first 40 years of the franchise. I debunked it. He hired drunks as his coaches.
There you go. But Al Levine, the talking machine, Bobby Lane, one of the all-time great
Another drunk.
quarterbacks in the National Football League. In 1957, it was just ironic, Al Levine, the talking machine. Bobby Lane, when he was traded to the Steelers in 1958, he said the Detroit Lions, which was a traditional NFL powerhouse, won a lot of championships with Bobby Lane. He said,
How
they
about
won't win
Dick
the
LeBeau?
championship.
How about Dick LeBeau with
Yeah,
them?
for 50 years.
Right.
And 66 years later, they still haven't won the championship. They never won them with Dick LeBeau. But
No,
you
but
know,
he intercepted a lot
he
of
was
balls.
great, but he was part of that curse. But in 1957,
They had a curse.
Al Levine, the talking machine. Tell me Bobby Lane didn't have something to do with that. When they played the semifinal game, Detroit and San Francisco, the halftime score was 24-7. And Detroit came back in the second half and won 31-27. When it is ironic, the same score, Detroit had San Fran by 17 points, 24-7, and then Bobby Lane took over in the second half. I've never seen, Mike, so many professional football players dropping footballs right in their hand and fumbling. You know Bobby Lane was smacking that ball out of their hand. Al Levine, the talking machine, it had to be 10 drops and 2 or 3 fumbles. Al Levine, the talking machine, I'm predicting Al Levine, the talking machine. Not only has it been 66 years since the championship, but I don't think Detroit will get back to the championship game for a long, long time. And that's what's on my mind. Curses, Bobby Lane. I'm sure you will agree.
No, I remember friends of mine
You don't believe in the curse?
No, because I remember friends of mine in Brentwood. There's a bar up there. I don't want to talk about it, but it closed at 7 in the morning, and he'd go, "Hey fellas, last round's on me. I got to go to the game." And he played intoxicated. So his curse, I disclaim it. He doesn't represent any of us on Pittsburgh Sportsline, BPTV, or Bethel Park. It's all on him, and it plays into my theory about the NFL's fixed.
Good point.
Because look at how Tony, who dropped all those balls with Kansas City, do you even hear his name? Do you see him on the roster? He's not with my team, KC. So I don't believe you're cursed. Dan Campbell, I'll talk about that in a minute or two, but at least he's consistent, just like Smoking Jim isn't promising people he'll be there, except for me. He don't show up. I'm undefeated. All right. After that, I don't know how you follow it, Raging, but
I'll do my
Michael
best.
Rohde, what's on your mind?
Here's what's on my mind. The noise was deafening over the past week because I was sitting back waiting for the firestorm of all the Tomlin haters ready to erupt when the man did not get fired. Waiting for an absolute eruption. And you know what? I don't know about you all. I didn't really hear much. I don't know if everybody kind of just resigned themselves to the fact that he's coming back. Me and my dad were going back and forth. I said, if you don't hear anything within 24 hours, that means he's not going anywhere. Next thing you know, he's telling his players, I'm coming back and this
Well,
and that.
let me interrupt you. After his walkout, won the conference, they had a player meeting with him, and they agreed to back him. So it was already decided.
I don't know if
that was That was reported.
I'm sure it was. I think here's
No,
the
the
thing.
media played it up. So
I got
carry
into
on.
I got
I
into
got
a little.
the inside scoop. I
got
can't
into
reveal my sources because they're truly inside.
I love when people say they can't reveal their sources. That means I can make up, and I'm not saying you do, but there's a prominent guy on Pittsburgh radio who goes around saying, my sources, my sources. And when they question him, he goes, well, you calling me a liar? Like it's total protection when people say they can't
if
name
you
their
don't know
sources.
that I'm sarcastic, so there's always a little grain of truth.
You're right.
And someday I can reveal it on my deathbed.
There you
but
go.
I have secrets for over 50 years.
No, I didn't mean that towards you.
No, but I'm
It just
defending
struck me when you
myself.
said it.
I can defend myself.
Absolutely.
You carry on.
But anyway,
and keep
so
doing what you're doing.
I had like a conversation with someone after the game, and it was a person who'd been against Tomlin for years, and they said, Tomlin this and Tomlin that. I said, okay, what if they'd have won that game? Would all have been forgiven? Would everything be right? And like, well, they weren't in that game. Wait a minute, they were an interception in the end zone, and somebody fumbling the ball on their own 15-yard line from probably winning that game. I said it last time I was here, everybody said I was crazy.
Yeah.
If you take away the quarterbacks, I believe the Steelers have a better roster than the Bills. Okay?
Yeah.
But the quarterback, and I've gone on and on about this, the quarterback is the primary thing for this league.
We concur with you.
Right? So if you've got, and that's why Pat Mahomes has been in 6 straight AFC championships. That's why he'll be there next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, just like Tom Brady was for 100 million years. He was always in it. As long as you've got
but
that
let me
guy.
put up a number. Tom Brady, Mike Tomlin.
Well, but that's my point. Is Tom Brady
I'm
was the best
backing you, yeah.
quarterback.
I'm backing you up.
And Ben Roethlisberger was the second best quarterback.
Right.
Who won all the championships? Tom Brady. Right now, the guy in Buffalo is the second best quarterback. So he's not. So he's the one that gets knocked out by Mahomes. But I also said in this conversation that with it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. They said, okay, everybody, the receivers are complaining, everybody's got a bad attitude, everybody's infighting, everybody this, everybody that, until guess what? You had a quarterback come in, and all of a sudden, nobody's fighting anymore, the receivers aren't complaining, everybody's singing Kumbaya.
The zip up.
Because all of a sudden now you've got a quarterback that's come in. So, it all stems back to, you can blame Tomlin for this and X and Y and Z. And frankly, I think 17 years is too long to be a coach of any one professional team. I'm there. But I still stand in the camp of Tomlin taking the heat is just kind of ridiculous. Okay, you want to go back to Roethlisberger's time, when they didn't win those playoff games after that period of time. Okay, it wasn't Tom, and I love Ben, but it wasn't Tomlin that threw all the interceptions in the first and the quarter against Jacksonville. It wasn't Tomlin that threw all the interceptions against the Browns. It wasn't Mike Tomlin who tapped out like Lev Bell did two playoff games in a row. When AB missed those games, when and there were so many injuries. So there's a difference between excuses and reasons. Okay, so the only way you're going to get that great quarterback. So I keep saying. I still haven't lost faith in Kenny. I'm hoping, and Mason. I truly think is a good alternative. But here's how you get those ace quarterbacks. First of all, you bottom out, okay? Like Cincinnati did, like so many other teams did to get that number one quarterback.
Right.
Or you luck out, and you have teams like the Bears take Mitch Trubisky instead of on top of Pat Mahomes, or you luck out when the Steelers, and even the Steelers kind of bombed out. They went 6-10 to get Ben. Right, and they only got Ben because Cleveland is too stupid, and we have Jeff Garcia. We don't need Ben Roethlisberger. So
they didn't know that Ben doesn't lose in Ohio. Just
So-
imagine if they would have got him.
Oh, it's still to this day. It's got to just eat Browns fans alive. So another
That's
way to
why
get
I
a
have
quarterback
empathy for them.
is to get
I
lucky.
salute you.
And I think they're thinking their number 20 pick Pickett. That's one of their routes to getting lucky. Look what San Francisco did when they got Purdy. So and
Mr.
maybe
Irrelevant.
and maybe their gift guy, maybe their lucky thing. I'm telling you, is sitting there with Rudolph. They had him graded as a number 1 pick. He sat on the bench for 4 years, just like another guy, Jordan Love, who all of a sudden is pretty good.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
How'd he
So-
go for 4,000 yards and look like Aaron Rodgers? Oh, I shouldn't speak about that guy.
I think the Steelers have a team right now. All of a sudden, the line could block. All of a sudden, the receivers could catch. All of a sudden, everybody they got crushed on defensive injuries. That happens. But the defense kept them in just about every game the entire year,
They
except
won a
for maybe
couple.
Houston and maybe 1 or 2 others. But guess what? Sometimes you need an offense to bail you out,
Yeah.
right? So, and they didn't have that. So, I think if the Steelers can be one of those teams that got lucky, that didn't bottom out, they land it with Rudolph or Pickett, great. Other than that, they need to get rid of Tomlin to get rid of all those pesky winning seasons, right? That pesky winning culture. Get it out of here, and let's get 2 wins.
Right.
And draft a college stud quarterback who, by the way, isn't even always a guarantee. Ask the Chicago Bears.
Oh, exactly. Smoking.
Yes, sir.
Mike, by the way, that was great.
That was
Thank
great,
you.
Mike. And number one, Mason Rudolph showed tremendous leadership. In
Absolutely.
That huddle.
Yeah.
He didn't put up with that nonsense.
He's a quiet
in the
leader,
huddle. And number two, what do you guys think about the new offensive coordinator? Think he'll make a difference? I thought it was an awful reach.
Najee Harris had a great quote this year. He said, everybody in the NFL runs the same plays, all right? It's how you execute them. And when you have a quarterback who does nothing but check down to the guy in the flat, your safeties can come up, now you can't run, right? It's all about what that quarterback can do. Mason Rudolph stood in the pocket for one more split second to get those guys
He
open
was
down the
getting
field.
hit.
And guys had to come up, or the guys had to back up, rather.
Well,
and now you're running for 200 yards.
No, I brought up that Broderick Jones made a difference on the wrong side. Football pros talk, if you're a natural right tackle, you stay there. If you're a natural left tackle, stay there, except for Smoking Jim. He misspoke. The last 8 games, we averaged almost double what we did running. So obviously, 1 and 1 equals 2, he made a difference. And when you have Mason Rudolph, like I had said, you have a guy throwing to the middle of the field and deep, and you're completing passes. 8 men in a box is now 4 or 5.
Exactly.
So we're talking the same language there.
Do you guys think the new, they just
No,
had
it's
their
here's the
offensive
problem.
coordinator today?
Here's the problem. You know Mike Tomlin, he doesn't like you anymore because he's the smartest guy in the room, and sometimes you're right. So what he wants is somebody that's like him.
Good point.
Smith was a decent offensive coordinator with Tennessee, but didn't he have Derrick Henry?
Yes, sir.
You had one of the greatest running backs. So what are you going to do? Run the ball. Now, when you talk about consistent, in Pittsburgh, we haven't had a losing season in 17 seasons. Common sense. Why would we get a guy that goes 7-10 3 years in a row, not 1, not 2, but 3 years in a row, and he believes in a run game and RPOs? The only thing I liked hearing is RPOs, because the middle of the field, 5 yards downfield, Mike, let me throw that. Smoking Jim, let me throw it. I don't think it's going to change the philosophy of the Steelers, but we're a few plays and players away from what you're saying. My thing is, the reason I'm critical of Tomlin is all coaches talk arrogantly, and if he plays bad the first half of the year and wins at the end and gets that winning record, who was there for the first half? People aren't accountable nowadays for what they do, and that's the problem I have with Tomlin. Whether he's good or great, Smoking Jim quotes this. You know, he won a Super Bowl with Cowher's players, but he doesn't. Chip Hayner brought this up, called me personally yesterday. He goes, tell Smoking Jim he doesn't hold that against Harbaugh, winning with Brian Billick's players and getting a Super Bowl, and he hasn't done anything since. What does Smoking Jim have to say about that?
You know the difference, but there's a big difference between John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. Here's the biggest difference.
One's black and one's white,
Yeah.
and I'm not racist.
Yeah, and the white one grew up poor. Who got it better than us? Nobody. While they were walking to school because they didn't have a car. But
How about they lived in, brothers were in the same room
yeah,
until they graduated and went to college.
yeah. Well, here's the difference.
That
between
already
those
was a
two.
difference.
John Harbaugh had 9 assistant coaches that he hired on his staff that went on to be head coaches. Mike Tomlin don't have one that could go to South Fayette and be a head coach. So that's the difference. Harbaugh knows how to – he's a football guy that knows how to hire good assistant coaches. Bill Cowher had 8 off his staff to go.
Well,
to
since
become
we didn't
head
get to
coaches.
my point yet, Smoking Jim, have you ever heard of coaching trees?
Yeah, Harbaugh got one.
Okay, you heard Belichick has one, Shanahan has one. Has anybody in 17 years
No.
mentioned
No.
that Mike Tomlin doesn't have a coaching tree.
Bruce Arians? Everybody says nobody became a.
That's come Cowher.
What's
He
that?
was on Cowher's staff.
Yeah.
Arians
He-
was?
yeah, Arians and
Wasn't it on
LeBeau.
Tomlin's?
And Dick LeBeau.
And
yeah.
LeBeau. Yeah, why do you think?
I missed that.
Here's why I've mentioned over the years Tomlin was suspect to me because he came in and didn't hire any new coaches. And that's what he reaped. When they're gone, what have we seen? All right. Hey, Al, what's on your mind?
Hey, Al, what's on your mind?
I forget now. I'm confused. Raging Rhodey did great bringing those things up. There's some of the points. And Chip and I have debated on the show whether the coach is responsible or the players. I always say it's a combination. I wasn't a raw player when I played. I just went out and tried to beat the guy in front of me when I was a pitcher, when I played center. I didn't care if he was 180 pounds or 300. I hit him, and I got in the way. If a coach can't correct you to do that, like I only learned to play in a uniform football freshman year. Became starting center my senior year, got recruited in colleges. How did I get better? And the pros, why are they teaching them, Mike, like you're saying, they have talent. Why do they have to teach them how to block, how to catch a ball, how to play defense? Didn't you just graduate from the minor leagues, college ball? To me, as an old-time guy, I don't understand it. And it bothers me when you have all these guys with super talent and millions of dollars, and you just said Cam Sutton. We got rid of him for a reason. He couldn't defend. So we are only a few players away, and coaching to me is like the guide rails. When you're making a mistake, Smoking Jim, did you ever get yelled at on the football field?
All the time.
Mike, did you play ball?
Yeah, I did.
You ever get yelled at playing
Oh,
ball?
God, Dave Ackerman's voice is still in my head.
Well, I remember hearing my dad yell at me, and I was a good pitcher striking out people, and I walked a guy once in the first inning. Alan, you can do better than that. I struck out the side to get over there, and he goes, that's my boy. This is called tough love in sports. And weren't you accountable? Weren't you accountable, and wasn't I accountable? There's no accountability in life now, let alone in sports. And here we are. Some people never played the game. And I don't say you should be an announcer and play the game, but I know playing the game, I see things that announcers never talk about. Like on the show, I've told you, they told me as a guard and then a center, if you can't get the block them, stand in front of them. Now, how simple is that? Why do we got guys 6'8" that can't block? Why do we have Freiermuth for 4 years? He catches something, but have you seen him block?
Terrible.
It's pitiful.
You see Kittle put some blocks down.
You watch what Kittle did, and then Kelsey, they're all worried about Swift. Did you see him catching balls that were impossible?
Yeah.
He passed Jerry Rice in the playoffs. Do you know how impressive that is? Jerry Rice is legit one of the best ever. Then did you see him mixing it up with some of these guys, knocking guys down? How about the one linebacker? He pushed him first, and what do you know in football? The second guy gets the flag. That
Sure
was
enough.
perfect. I'm watching it, and they're like, whoa, can you believe that? And then an announcer goes, did you see what Kelsey did? I'm like, I told Drew, I said, yeah, he hit him first. So it's the little things that we're looking for in Pittsburgh, because are we spoiled? No, our minds are spoiled, but our reality, we live it and we lie to ourselves. And I don't say Steeler fans aren't dumb. They're just lying to themselves about reality. What you want to see is them coach up players. I want to see them, like you talk about a quarterback, Mason Rudolph came in. Pickens didn't have any yak yards when Pickett was throwing to him. Do you know why? Here's the end line, here's the pass. He goes out of bounds.
Checkdowns.
What did Mason Rudolph do? Guys are getting 30, 40 yards. What do you think Cam Hayward, who hasn't spoken in 10 years, came out and said, Deontay better shut up, Pickett better shut up, and, we like Tomlin. He's our guy. Wait a second. Deontay and Pickett said, we want Mason Rudolph because they want to sign another multi-million-dollar contract. So sorry to go off on a tangent, but we got extra time to kill, and we're good at that. Let me thank some people for watching. We got a bunch tuning in. Let's see. Peggy Rohde's watching us. She said, hello, Al, enjoying your show tonight. Handsome panel and crew watching from Rochester. We appreciate you up there. Bud Watkins is watching. Nick shares this with people. Chuck Chief McElroy's watching. Brandy's watching. Dexter Bridger. Rudolph Johnson. Baba Lavinja. Luther Dupree Jr., a friend of ours, is watching. Luther made this great comment, Smoke. He's observing. Someone is tearing up that pizza. LOL.
Who said that,
Luther. Ernie Kushner's watching. Hey, Ernie, we miss you. Remember when he used to sit in where Mike's sitting?
Yeah.
Amy Sliss is watching. Smoking Jim, I like your outfit.
Thank you, Amy.
It cost them $18. Amy Sliss, my dad is going to the heart doctor on Monday. Amy, we've been praying for your dad since he got COVID, and he hasn't been doing well, so we hope prayers help heal him. So thank you for all that. All right, we got to go to Fiction and Fact with Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, and Mike, you see the hat I'm wearing, and I can sum up the Super Bowl with one word. San Francisco will win.
Smoking Jim, I got to disclaim that in a second. Don't bet against Mahomes.
I thought you was going to say it's more than one word. But
No.
Because I was going to say, not if you bundle.
Oh my God! If I never see that commercial again, I'm gonna. Oh,
Well, Smoking Jim, I appreciate you, but I have to share with people that maybe haven't watched our show for a long time. Smoking Jim's a degenerate gambler. He's a very nice guy. He bragged about betting $250 every day, which we know that can't be true. It's more. And we tell you he always wins. Last year, he always said I think there was 8 games that he said you can't lose on. He won on 2 of them. That makes him a loser. So if you're going to bet, don't start. If you already bet the opposite of him, Mahomes.
And they gave me points with Kansas City, and I took them to win outright against the Ravens. But hey, Al Levine, the talking machine, today is the happiest day of my life, and I'll tell you why. Of course, you know, when T.J. Watt came out, the defensive MVP of the league, I said he'd be the best linebacker in Steeler history. Now I'm saying he's the best player in Steeler history. Al Levine, the talking machine. When I told you 3 years ago that the draft would be a bust if they didn't take Najee Harris, they ended up taking Najee Harris. I said last year the draft would be a bust if they didn't take Jordan Addison. They didn't take Jordan Addison. He ended up with 9 touchdown catches, and he made the all-rookie team. Al Levine, the talking machine, the draft would be a bust this year if they don't take...
Whoa, this is a pre-draft pick.
They don't take cornerback from Iowa. He's already wearing black and gold. Where's number 3? Cooper DeJean. Al Levine, the talking machine. He's the best I've seen since Rod Woodson and Charles Woodson. He's better than Darrell Revis, because one, I don't like El Equipa. Al Levine, the talking machine. This guy can do it all. He's 5 players in one position. He's an All-American punt returner. He won the award for punt and kickoff returns. He won the Jim Thorpe Award as the best cornerback in all of football. Al Levine, the talking machine. He can play outside corner. He can play in the slot. And as he gets older, he can play safety for you. 6'1", 210 pounds, Al Levine, the talking machine. He runs like a wind. And I tell you what, here it is, Mike. Here it is. I've been waiting for 20 years for this. He's white, Al Levine, the talking machine. He'll be a first-round draft choice, white cornerback, first white cornerback in the league at any level in 20 years.
Jason Sehorn.
Jason Sehorn was the last one, and he was the first round. There's not been a backup, a practice squad guy, nobody white. And I tell you what, that's a courageous guy to play cornerback when the NFL obviously has reverse discrimination going on. Pittsburgh Steelers got to get him.
Smoking Jim, I respect your opinions on this one.
He's white. Hell, Levine talking
Well,
machine. We got to get.
here.
How long has I been waiting for this?
12 years.
I've been campaigning.
12 years for me, but I have to explain the disclaimer on this with a little explanation. Didn't he just tell you that this guy's white? He mentioned Jim Thorpe from Pennsylvania
Yes, sir.
was an Indian.
Yes, sir.
Did he mention Indian? No. So I assume he's racist against Indians. He's a nice guy, my best friend, but how do you not mention that when you said white, he's all right 4 times?
Do you know who the last white guy before Sehorn was to start? Scott Case, Atlanta.
Oh, I loved him, but he wasn't a corner. He was a
corner. No, he was a corner.
Was
Started
he
out as a
saying
corner,
number
moved to safety.
25 or whatever? He could
Think
hit.
so, yeah.
He could play.
Absolutely.
Woo, yes,
I
Scott Case
appreciate
was
you
good.
guys.
I didn't realize he was a corner.
He started out as a
That was
corner.
one of my favorites.
That slipped by
He
Smoking
should be in
Jim.
the
It's
Hall of
rare.
Fame. I'm
Pretty good.
surprised he wasn't.
Yeah, he's pretty
Eddie Arky's watching. George Malerbo said Kansas. Amy Sliss said go Kansas. Susan Lauterbach's watching. Thank you for watching our show. We appreciate you. All right, we got Raging Rhodey in 10 seconds.
Okay, couple things. First of all, I jotted down a few things as we were chatting. I don't mind seeing Taylor. In fact, I think it's pretty stupid if people are complaining about seeing
love
Taylor
it.
Swift.
I
Who
love
cares? I mean, my God, the
Hold it,
NFL
one interruption.
is not this guy.
One interruption. They said the Taylor Swift game, 55 million people watched. The other game, listen to this, 56 million people watched. So she didn't
brought
carry
in an extra
all of
million?
her. No.
Oh, it went down.
Yeah, she had 1 million less. So how's the NFL taking advantage of her?
I don't know.
The NFL, just not to cut you off, the NFL, since Taylor Swift came on board, Kansas City has produced $337 million for the NFL just based on Taylor Swift.
Right.
It's unbelievable. And
You
it
know
doesn't
that's
bother me.
you know that's 1/3 of $1 billion. Like money, Smoking Jim. That's over 1/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that. None of that
great points,
bothers
Mike.
me at all. But
Like
I tell you
me,
what,
I'm happy that they're happy. I could care less.
it's all entertainment. This is what a lot of old school NFL people, well, it's taken away, she's a distraction. The NFL is entertainment. That's what it's there for. It sells commercials, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little crossover, big deal. Look at the NFL halftime show. I mean, Mike, it's all about bringing in, this is what they do. So, but my point was, I don't mind that, but I can't watch any more of these Patrick Mahomes insurance commercials. He has no charisma, like Peyton Manning has charisma, you know? Oh my God, Mahomes is terrible. Just absolutely.
Well, he's reading his
And then you
lines.
bring in Andy Reid, who's even worse.
With the Nuggets.
Oh my God, it's literally cringing. I want to leave the room. How bad they are.
Hold it, State
And they're
Farm.
not even well-written commercials. I'll tell you what. You want to see a good commercial again, and thank God it's back. Is the Geico Caveman.
Yeah,
So easy a
I like
caveman
that.
can do it. I don't know who's been doing Geico commercials for 1,000,000 years, but they've been funny for 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
And the way they bring back that caveman. But anyway, I digress. So a
No,
few
this
other
is
things.
entertainment too. Carry on. I salute you.
So it occurred to me I didn't answer your question about the Steelers offensive coordinator. First of all, I find it hilarious. The guy's been named offensive coordinator for about, 3-4 hours. All of a sudden, everybody's already ripping a guy. They're already ripping a guy. He got offered the job. He's probably going to read the headlines and read and say, I ain't going there. That just shows the hate affair we have with offensive coordinators.
Did anybody
It's
say
hilarious.
what he's making? Because it's got to be more than 500,000.
It doesn't matter. His father started FedEx.
I know.
It doesn't matter how much.
Hey, my sister Joy worked there for 30-some years.
I work there now.
Yeah.
God bless him. Say hi
Yeah.
to your dad for me.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
We know you're you're prejudiced then.
Bias, we'll put it that way.
All right.
So,
No prejudice here. That side of the table's normally prejudice with smoking.
so anyway, with the new offensive coordinator, the criticism I heard all day was, okay, all they did was hand off to the running back. And it made me laugh because all these other guys that jump from OC to head coach, there's only one reason why, because they have a good quarterback.
Good point.
Okay, so he maximized his best player. His best player may or may not be the running back. I'm just saying, give the guy a chance.
Right.
Give the guy a freaking chance. It's just amazing to me that everybody is just so poisoned. And look, I respect it. I get it because everybody's tired of 10-6, 10-7, and not winning a playoff game.
And 8-8, 8-8 when they weren't great.
Just I hope the guy gets a fighting chance. In football, one thing I can't stand. The celebrations, not a big fan of, whatever. But taunting. I can't stand when guys get up and that's just a complete lack of respect. I always tell my son, respect your opponent at all times. So nothing made me happier than a few plays later, the guy who got taunted goes over and knocks Flowers the ball right out of his hands at the 1 yard line. Flowers, who did the taunting, got it knocked out by the tauntee and right out, and it's Kansas City ball. That made my weekend, and it just so happened to be the Baltimore Ravens, of whom I may or may not be a big fan of that team.
Well, he cut his hand, too.
And then he cut his hand. I said to my
Out of
my
a
wife
fit of
and I,
anger.
She was, she was on her iPad. She wasn't really watching a game. But she was listening to me rant. And I said, how dumb is this guy? Not only did he do all these things, he goes over and starts punching the bench and cuts his hand open. I'm like, my goodness, not a lot going on there. But anyway.
Well, let me interrupt you.
Please.
There's accountability. When you're young, you have guidance. When you have a favorite child or something like these coaches do, like Tomlin, that's the problem I have. They're not accountable for anything. And being that young,
on the flip side, they're kids, right? He's probably
look at his
21 years
age.
old. Yeah,
he's one of 14 children.
Really? I didn't know that.
His dad, the mother died when there were 14 kids. The dad had to work and manage a family.
His dad stuck around?
Smoking Jim, he's black.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. Go ahead, Ray.
Anyway, I got one more because I know we got some extra.
No, we still got 10 minutes plus. Nick messaged me, you got to shut the timer off so it doesn't beep. And he goes, I know you know it and you're one of the best. So thanks, Nick. I said, I already told him we have 10 minutes plus.
Awesome. Well, I was keeping my
And
phone on
Marco
the same
knows
time.
we're going to go to 7:34.
Cool. So anyway,
Just had to cover that. Ragin, you got 2 more minutes extension, no
all
problem
right,
asked.
I only got one more subject, and this is a
That
little.
could be
this,
2 minutes. You got smoking next to you.
This is a little dated, but I didn't get to it the last time I was on. So right after a Steeler game, I was watching a Penguins game. I turned it on, and like right when it went on, they scored a goal. The Penguins scored a goal. I'm like, great timing. And then they challenged it. Pens were offside.
I saw that.
Took away the goal. About 5 minutes later, the Penguins scored a goal. Wait, challenge, goaltender interference, grazed them. And I said to myself, the NFL, who has the most ratings of any league, but you can add up all the other leagues' ratings together and are still not as good as the NFL, has spent every waking moment making rules to increase scoring, to make more established offense. The NHL, this wasn't there before. They actually created rules to stymie scoring.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to me. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Why do you think they aren't so popular?
You think? I mean, they...
Just like, soccer's the only exception. It's worldwide the biggest sport. But I don't watch soccer, so hockey I love. I saw that game, and I
turned it off.
Yeah.
I was so angry. I turned it off, and I
Hence
said,
the raging roadie.
I was in a rage.
You got a
I was in
bonus
a rage
minute
there.
for that comment
Yeah.
about NFL and NHL.
So the NHL, I don't think hockey needs to be saved per se, as long as they don't mind drifting in the gutters of rating ship. Fine, knock yourselves out. But it's so obvious to me what they can do. They took steps, right? They got rid of 2-line passes. They did a few things. But, until they get rid of that nonsense, and also, I don't know how they do this, figure out a way to eliminate trapping. And that it's not as prevalent as it was back when New Jersey, when Lou
you're
Lamoriello
right.
ruined hockey.
Yes.
But, you know, it made a middle of the mid-'90s when the Panthers knocked out the Penguins. The Panthers had zero talent on that team. They just trapped like crazy, and they took out the Pens in 7. And, you know, it's not as prevalent as it was, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the NHL, for some reason, feels the need to keep expanding, even though no one's watching the teams that are already there.
Yeah.
Let's get more teams that no one will watch.
You know why?
And water it down more, and then teams have to do that trapping.
You know
And
why? It's the
poorly run
Canadian.
league.
It's the
Horrible run
Canadian
league.
mentality. Hence, why do you keep fighting?
Yeah.
It's the Canadian mindset. Rarely do you see fights, but the fans love it. So
I think they should bring. I'm not even kidding. They should bring fighting back.
Yes.
Make it more interesting. Because right now, hockey's like watching paint dry, man. It is like watching paint dry. It's awful. It's just awful.
yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's not like the NFL when you can have 8 plays down the field that are exciting.
Yeah.
To get to a touchdown. The NHL, you're lucky if you have one. I mean, that's passed by Sidney Crosby the other night.
Did you see that almost a
ridiculous.
360
It was ridiculous.
with no look pass?
I'd say it was
He
luck,
was this
but it
way,
was Sid.
and he spun around with a backhand.
Right on
hit
his
Gensel
tape.
right
Tapped
by
it.
the goal. All he had to do was tap it in with the stick.
Almost like an Ovechkin play.
No, Ovechkin never even attempted.
Nah, he would never pass.
He's
He just
over
shot
on
it.
the right side of the goalie with a slap shot. He only has one shot.
But the NHL only has one interesting thing. They've got a couple. They got big hits, big saves, and goals. Those 3 things. That's it.
And they're limiting the big hits.
And they're limiting the big hits, and they're taking away. They're trying to squander scoring, which is just
since we got, I'm going to use a bonus 2 minutes, and we'll go in our final 10. Now, when you talk about big hits and pass interference, look at pass interference. We're all taught that whoever's guarding should look back at the ball.
Right.
I've watched the whole season.
Yeah.
I tell Drew, Drew's watching, I go, look what they're doing, putting their hands up and looking at the player. Why haven't they called one pass interference on that? Yet all these sketchy pass interference things, guys are pulling jerseys, tugging them by the belt. They're calling that. The main one
Face guarding.
is when you don't look back for a ball to defend it. It's not being called.
I have a tough time criticizing NFL referees because we have the opportunity to
Replay.
see slow motion replay at 27 different angles.
All right, I'll
And
test you.
They
These
get it
guys are
almost
doing
right
it.
to the
They're
inch.
most athletic
Yeah,
guys
but
on
here-
the planet in real time.
I
And
grew up,
most of the time they get it right.
as you know, I've said ad nauseum, grew up with a great referee in basketball. I'll give you a test. You're watching a receiver and a defensive back. The defensive back never turns around. When he sees the guy looking, he puts his hand up. Is that a pass interference or not? I rest my case.
Good point.
That's how simple it is. The rest of these aren't. And I appreciate what you're saying on here because they made the game ridiculous. I mean, you watch it, like Drew and I bet whoever gets a big lead in the first half, the NFL's fixed, so they're going to lose.
Really?
Paul, you haven't watched much football.
Wow, I haven't paid attention.
No, you haven't watched much football at all. No, and then we'll talk a little bit later, but I'll do my on location in 10 seconds.
All right.
All right, I'm back, and in honor of Nick Callis, I'm going to click the timer right now. We got 10 minutes to go on location. Nothing's really happened that we know about. Ray Schaefer Boxing Association and Golden Gloves, we do that in the spring. I got Coliseum Combat Zone. I'm a MMA promoter now. I'm honored to do so. I got a great team set up. We're going to do it like a concert, and a UFC type of performance. We're going to have entertainment. Smoking Jim Frazier's wearing a black tux with a black top hat. He's our announcer in the ringside. He'll introduce the fighters. He'll do interviews afterwards. We got 2 16-foot by 9-foot screens on either side of the arena. I'm going to do 1 to 2 minute interviews of every fighter before they fight. Wow. We're going to show it each fight, so nobody else is doing it like that in Pittsburgh. One of my guys, consultants, Ray, he said there's a new way in MMA. We're bringing it there. We got all the top gyms in the area, Wright's Gym, Matt Factory, Stout Fight Promotions, Martial Arts, Fitness, and MMA from Robinson. All the gyms, they've been on my shows. They're going to back us for this. We got tickets coming out there. We're going to have a ticket link coming out. You can go to ColiseumCombatZone.com. We have our event on there, and we'll have updates sent out to you. Just give us your email. We're not scamming anybody. We don't want any information except your email so you can buy tickets and support us. We're just looking for a great crowd. We're looking for 1,000 or more people there, so we're serious. I remember going to Monzo's in Monroeville with 4,000 or 5,000 people at boxing matches.
Yes,
it was great. I remembered AC/DC coming on, TNT, and all this other stuff. So we're going to have something similar to that, only not on that scale. All-American Fieldhouse is newly remodeled with millions of dollars. We're going to be in a 10,000 square foot area. We got a MMA pro cage in there, certified. It's a state-sanctioned event. We're registered with the state. We checked off every block possible that you could do, and we're going to try to have all of you come out and support us and see a great show. And imagine my best friend, Smoking Jim Frazier, black tuxedo, black tie, and a top hat. We fitted him up. I cannot give his dimensions or weight. I can keep a secret, just like I don't know how old he's going to be this year.
Where's the place at again?
All-American Fieldhouse. I'm not going to say God's country because that's sacrilegious. Smoking Jim supposedly lives in Monroeville. I've never been to his house. He's been to my house. He has a 120-inch square TV in the basement. It's one wall. That's all I know about it, but that's what we're going to be doing there. And we can talk about it. One thing I wanted to talk about is Dan Campbell. Don't you love a coach that turns around a program to be in a championship game in 3 years? Don't you love a guy that doesn't play and call plays like the NFL? Yes. Do you like somebody that's stubborn good? Yes. Do you like somebody that's stubborn bad? No. What's stubborn bad? You're up in a game. If you kick a field goal, you're up 3 scores. Screw your stubbornness. Just kick the field goal. What am I talking about? I'm talking about money, the hard work, a whole town that's waited for 66 years. God bless them. Do that. Then you come later and you could have tied the game up with a field goal. The first field goal that you would have put them up by 3 scores, you make San Francisco one-dimensional. What am I talking about? They can't run. They got to get 3 scores. Did they do it? Yes. But it's because they wanted to. They outplayed the team. You would have made them think like that, and you know yourself, if you react in sports, even Smoking Jim will say it because he didn't pay attention, you're going to do well. If you got to think about doing your play, mistakes happen. Look at what we've witnessed with drop balls and everything else. How about when a last-second pass is coming to a guy like Deontay, he catches it? How's that even happen? So these are things. Dan Campbell, love the guy, love his spirit, love his attitude, even loved his speech at the end. We did our best. We came up short. We know it's hard, to even get back, and we're going to do it. But guess what, buddy? You're a smart guy. You played the game. What did you learn in playoffs? Get the points. How do I know it? Is watching the games.
Did he say they were cursed?
No. He said Smoking Jim's going to say it. He's a liar. What'd you guys think of that?
It goes without saying. That's been beat to death, that topic. He should have took the points. But, boy, you talk about some bad luck, too, by that team. I mean, that long bomb down the middle that bounced off the Detroit, right through his hands, bounced off his face mask, and the guy for the 49ers caught it at the 2.
Ragin', you know what I've told people watching sports my whole life and playing it? They go, what do you think about a winning team? Would you rather be lucky than good? And I've said this since I'm a kid. I want to be lucky because you never hear about a team losing that they're lucky. If somebody wins, You're lucky. So I want to be called lucky my whole life
Yeah,
that
for
way.
sure. And then, look, there's nothing wrong with bounces go here, bounces go there. But it was amazing, that collapse. I've never seen anything
The
like it.
all-pro tight end, the rookie tight end, Laporte never dropped a pass in his life. Reynolds never dropped a pass in his life. Then number 9, the superstar receiver, they must have had 10 drops. I'm telling you, Bobby Lane was knocking it out of their
Hold it. A
hands.
gambler, here's what I want to say to you. What if you're making a certain amount of money? And we got gambling in all the sports. They don't even hide that every game's about gambling, FanDuel, this one, ESPN Bet now. You can even sign up for there. What if somebody offered each one of these players $1 million?
I never bought that. I know it seems that way, but there's no way that wouldn't get out. There's no chance.
I work with people, and Chief can verify it. I got guys in a union with 200-some guys. 10 guys kept a secret for 20 or more years about how they ran the union illegally.
Really?
You know how I got it out? I beat them. So when you say they can't,
union, but the
no,
NFL
but I'm
is a $15
saying
billion
people.
organization with thousands of employees, and
What if it's only
I think it would
only
get out.
3 people that know? The
You know how
gambling
many
company.
people, so everybody in the Lions, everybody who dropped the pass, who threw a bad pass, and all the, I mean, somehow.
I'm not saying everybody. What if it's one? Think about if you got a kicker. The kicker doesn't have to kick a 50.
That didn't happen this time. That's
No, but
individually. There was so many failures in the second half of the Detroit game. So
you're saying they chose?
They're up 20. Yes, they're up 24.
I just want that clarified.
Everything would have to go perfectly. By the way, San Francisco would also have to score all those points.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, I've seen a lot better arguments for gambling than that one. That
wasn't my argument for it.
It was a lack of mental toughness.
Have you ever
is
seen
what
a
that
better
was in the
argument
second
for the
half.
curse? It's only been 66
It was,
years.
Ben Roethlisberger, when they lost all those guys against the Patriots, and he was throwing to receivers, I don't even remember their names. After the game, he said the moment was too big for him. And, hopefully a guy like Laporta and other ones, they'll grow into it. But I think the moment was just a little bit
Well,
too big
I got
for
a
them.
question for you because I don't even know why he was even there at the game. Barry Sanders, who I love. I love Barry, but he's not.
Did he play for Detroit?
Yeah, but I mean, he got.
That's why he was there.
He got to be a boring guy to sit next to. But let me ask you, who's better in your opinion? Because I'm a McCaffrey man.
Me too.
McCaffrey or Barry Sanders?
Sanders was a guy. They didn't have a sustained rushing attack, right? Because Barry Sanders would go for 2 yards, -1, 1 yard, 2 yards, 80.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't like a sustained. He would average 6 yards a game, 6 yards a carry rather. But he'd have as many negative carries as he'd have positive carries.
Yeah.
And it just
So
that's
you said McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely go McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Barry Sanders, the moves he made as a running back, if he only had a line, he'd have beat Jimmy Brown's record in 10 years.
So Barry Sanders, you're saying?
No, McCaffrey's the best now. He can catch a ball.
I mean, who was the better running back though, in your opinion?
That's a weird question, right? Because two totally different styles.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
Overwhelmingly
and the reason,
different.
The reason I say
He's
this,
reaching for
the
something.
reason I say the two is because
Well, we got on less than a minute.
I'll just say this real quick. The closest thing I ever seen to Barry Sanders was Barry Sanders Jr. Ran
Whoa,
just like
I
his
knew you were
daddy,
going
and
somewhere.
McCaffrey beat him out at Stanford.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to end this. Thanks all of you for watching, putting up with this. Great input. And we'll be back next week, regular time. All right, 7 o'clock sharp. Please stay Joey strong.